Out of the gates and ready to go. Welcome in to this live edition of NFL Daily, powered by Chat Sports. I am the somewhat capable host, Tyler Jones, here with you. Thanks for joining us. We got a loaded show on tap today as we will get to the latest news and rumors from across the National Football League. We will be talking about Deebo Samuel, Tyler Boyd, and Stephon Gilmore. Also, we'll do a live Q&A mailbag where we will answer your questions that you send in to us using the hashtag NFL or super chatting. And then, at the end of today's show, we will break down the top 15 remaining free agents that are still available to sign after the 2024 NFL Draft. As you guys file in, get in that comment section, shout out your city, we'll shout you out as we are fired up here on this Thursday afternoon. No place I'd rather be than hanging out with NFL fans across this great country, across this planet here on this Thursday. I got Elio checking in from Puerto Rico. I got Eric in New York. Got Ken in Tacoma, Washington. Sean Bear in Lubbock, Texas. I got Josh saying Deebo to Detroit. We'll talk more about Deebo later. I got Cameron in Oswego, New York, says go Bills. Got Brax Talk in Ripley, West Virginia. Ripley's, believe it or not. Josh in Detroit, good to see you. NC Show, not in North Carolina, in Canton, Georgia. The other Canton, that is. Who else is in the chat? Let us know where you're watching from, as I see David in Lapeer, Michigan. I got Desmond in Philadelphia. Sophie's in France. Oui. Good to have everybody here checking in. Continue to let us know where you're watching from today. Which team won the 2024 NFL Draft? Be honest with me. It's not the Atlanta Falcons. We know that much. Choose between any of the other 31 teams. If it's Atlanta, you're wrong. But I'm very curious. Who do you believe won the NFL Draft? Big Tex is hanging out here with me today, also known by his actual name, Matthew McCullough.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tex,
What's
good
up?
to see you as always, my friend.
Good to see you, brother.
You worked the draft last week.
Yes,
you
I did.
Saw it all firsthand, how it all unfolded.
Oh, yeah.
A crazy few days.
No doubt.
Who stood out to you? Who do you think won the draft, Tex?
Who do I think won the draft? I honestly, a lot of people want to shit on the Bears, bro, but you got Caleb Williams.
I'm showing up double, by the way.
Oh, you are showing up double. I'll fix.
2-1. There we go.
Oh, hold up. Let him cook.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Now, Tex, go ahead and
Yes.
go through with your answer.
Of course, yeah. I think, a lot of people gave, the Bears, B's and C's. I think the Bears
I can't hear you. Is your mic on?
Oh, I think it is. I can hear it on the levels.
Okay, that's all that matters.
Yeah, sorry, you can't hear me, but they can. Yeah, I think maybe the Bears have, an argument for it. I also think, the Cowboys definitely didn't. I'm a Cowboys fan, so they probably got an F, but I'd say either Bears or maybe, I know it's a crazy take, but I think the Vikings had a really good draft. They got Dallas Turner and JJ, and if JJ is, I know he's a developmental prospect, and he's not going to, you shouldn't start him year one, but in 1 year with Kevin O'Connell, I think he could be really good. So I'd say Vikings or Bears.
Yeah, those are good answers.
What about you?
I think the Cardinals had a very good draft.
Marvin Harrison's a stud.
Marvin Harrison Jr., I think, is kind of the lock of this draft to be a superstar. You mentioned the Bears. I like the Bears as well. I think the Steelers had a very good draft. I think the Steelers made some noise and really showed up and showed out. Checking in the comments right now. Cameron says Eagles. Cluster, I can't read the rest of that cluster. Says Steelers. Cameron says Falcons are losers. Amen. Ilona says the Seahawks. Seahawks. Elio says Vikings from a Patriots fan. Kelly says the Giants. Who do you guys think won the NFL draft last week? Weigh in the chat right now. Let us know who you believe that is. We're going to be talking about best free agents available coming up later on. But before we do, I want to know who is a player that you want your favorite team to sign who is out there right now. Weigh in the chat. Give me a player you'd like to see your favorite team sign. Big Tex, your Cowboys just signed Zeke. He's off the board.
Yeah, what a great pickup, not.
I know that some folks will point to the nostalgia and all that, but Zeke doesn't have anything left at this point.
Yeah, he's a shell of his of his former self. I mean, I saw Jeremy, I think it was on his Instagram, he posted a video of like this, no offense to like bigger people out there, but this little chubby kid running with a football, and they were making the reference to Zeke picking up all this weight because he's not really taking care of himself. He's been in Cancun. Damn brutal. He's spending too much time in Cancun drinking. And yeah, so hopefully he can shed some weight and maybe be like
Zeke, go to Galveston. You don't deserve Cancun now.
He could be like a goal line back for the Cowboys, but I'm not too optimistic about his overall usage. I don't think he's going to do much, bro.
Who's a player you want your favorite team to sign? Trey says Tyler Boyd to the Steelers. Nick says Giants, Justin Simmons. Shane says Saints get Justin Simmons. And then NC Show says Falcons sign Hendrickson. We'll talk about Trey Hendrickson coming up later on. Got a super chat coming in on today's show. $2 super chat from Shane Curry. We were asking who won the draft, and he said hot pick, the Saints. Oh, and the Saints go marching in. I liked everything the Saints were doing until they drafted Spencer Rattler. I'm not a fan of Spencer Rattler at all. I've seen more Spencer Rattler than anybody watching this show. I saw him firsthand at Oklahoma, watched him at South Carolina. Spencer Rattler ain't that guy. He's erratic. I think he's emotionally unstable. And more than likely, Derek Carr is not going to be able to play all 17 games. I'll say this, Big Tex. We're probably going to see, for better or for worse, Spencer Rattler at some point this upcoming year.
I mean, you're not wrong. That would be wild to see. I don't know how Trace is going to feel about it. Our Saints Now host, shout out to Trace Gerard. Spencer Rattler, not that great.
Not great, Bob. It'll be fun to watch one way or the other. We'll see how it plays out. Good
For
reality show, at least. Yeah. And speaking of which, I mentioned reality shows. Hopefully, there's not a sequel to QB1 for Spencer Rattler. Did you watch that show back in the day?
Yes, he was such a jerk on that show, man. He was so dislikable. I see what you mean now about like character issues. When I think back to that, it's like he was just so hard to get along with and just so arrogant and just a dick. And he didn't need to be. You should let your talent play for you. You can be as weird as you want. Look at Caleb Williams. He does weird shit.
You remember that part in the show when he got suspended?
Yeah, it was embarrassing. What a joke.
Have you heard the rumors? Since we are a news and rumors show, I guess I'll go there. About why he got suspended?
No. What did they say?
So, not confirming this, just for the record, but the rumors are that what Spencer Rattler got suspended for on the QB1 show when he was in high school was one of two things, maybe even both, actually. Hooked up with a girl in the bathroom
Yikes.
at his high school.
Oof.
Also got caught smoking weed.
Stay off the weed.
So, I don't know about Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, he
We
sounds
got
problematic.
a mailbag in Big Tex. The only way that people can get on the mailbag is by super chatting or using the hashtag NFL.
Yep.
And we certainly could use some questions.
No doubt. So a super chat that came in earlier from Shane Curry is an example of a super chat. All you got to do is click the little $ below the chat box, and you send it in, and we put it on. And they get priority on our mailbags, which means they go first if they have a question in them. That's a big key. Put a question if you're going to send money, so we can answer it.
Exactly. Well, we'd be glad to throw you on the mailbag. Use hashtag NFL or super chat. $ next to the chat box if you would like to contribute and be a part of today's show. We are at 13 likes right now. I need to get to 20 to officially get this thing started, to get into the news and rumors of the day. So go ahead and like the video. 7 more. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat right now. Make sure you guys like the video. And we'll get this thing started here on this Thursday. It's our Friday here at Chat Sports. It is a company holiday tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
After all of us worked every single day last week.
Yeah.
So we are going to have a much-needed break tomorrow. So
yes,
we're going to take Friday Junior and turn it into an actual Friday here at today's show.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to enjoy ourselves and
this
have
is
a great
our
time
Friday.
today. Yes. So I'm looking forward to this 3-day weekend. Any big plans, Tex?
Oh, just decompressing, man. I mean, we worked like 10 days straight hard for this company, and like obviously the hard work paid off because we killed it in terms of like draft coverage across YouTube. But yeah, it'll be nice to just like reset mentally and just kind of get a second to chill out Because it's just been go, 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 go. And
so here's my plan.
Yeah, what's your
After
plan?
this show, I'm going to get in my car. I got to
yeah.
drive to Oklahoma tonight, stay at my parents' house, get
Yep.
some Z's for a few hours, then get back on the road at 6 a.m., and I got to make my sister's graduation in Kansas tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Starts at 10 a.m. So please, no delays or construction, and then sticking around, going to the NASCAR race there at Kansas Speedway. Should be a fun weekend up in Kansas City. So that's what I'm up to with my extended 3-day weekend. If you want to start the show, like the video, we certainly appreciate it. Here's what's coming up. News and rumors across the National Football League. We'll talk about Deebo Samuel, Tyler Boyd, Stephon Gilmore. Also, we'll do a mailbag segment coming up in just a bit as well. Use hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. And then we will also discuss the top free agents remaining after the NFL draft. So all of that and more coming up in just a moment. Antonio's got the right idea. He says, like, subscribe, and share the stream, please. Thank you, Antonio. You're a real one. Much appreciated. All right. Without further ado, segment numero uno, news and rumors, starts right now here on NFL Daily. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of NFL Daily. Loaded show ahead. We are talking about the latest trade rumors surrounding Deebo Samuel. Also, Tyler Boyd, still looking for a home. We have an update on his free agency meetings. And then Stephon Gilmore, still available in free agency as well. Could he be headed back to the Dallas Cowboys? We'll dive into that as well in just a moment. Before we do, the NFL offseason rolls on. The countdown to kickoff is on, just 4 months away from NFL football returning. If you want your team to have a great season, send some good vibes, like the video, don't jinx it. I've been told, if you like today's video, that it's going to help your team's chances of winning on Sundays this season. Don't question it. Don't make me come find you because you didn't like today's video. Do your part, and we'll get started with today's show. Deebo Samuel. Could he have played his last game with the San Francisco 49ers? We have an update on possible trade speculation involving the 49ers wide receiver and what his future may hold. Here's what you need to know. In a new report from The Athletic this week, an anonymous NFL executive said that he's been told, according to sources, that the San Francisco 49ers may cut or trade Samuel. ESPN, in their reporting, after the report from The Athletic, said that San Francisco's preference is to trade Deebo Samuel over Brandon Ayuk. If they have to choose one or the other, that Samuel would be the odd man out. And that kind of lines up with what John Lynch had said a few weeks ago when he was asked about Brandon Ayuk's future, and he said he wanted to keep Brandon Ayuk long term. He didn't say that about Deebo Samuel. And if you recall during the draft, the Niners went receiver with their first pick. They shocked everybody by selecting Florida wide receiver Ricky Pearsall at 31 overall. And if a trade for Deebo Samuel happens, expect it to happen in about a month from now, as the post-June 1 trade designation would save the San Francisco 49ers about $22 million this upcoming season against the cap. Now, you may be saying to yourself, you got two very good receivers in Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. Why are you looking to potentially trade one of them? Well, it's pretty simple. The Niners cannot afford to keep both Samuel and Ayuk. With the money that they're already paying Bosa and several other players, with the money that Brock Purdy is going to be due here pretty soon, there's just not enough cash to go around for everybody. And the cost of the receiver position has just skyrocketed over the last few years. Even recently, when St. Brown, the Lions receiver, gets $30 million, then these guys are going to look for their bag as well. So I believe that Samuel is the one that's more likely to go. And the reason why, for me, just comparing the two, Deebo Samuel had a down year this past season. Brandon Ayuk passed him up on the depth chart and was clearly the San Francisco 49ers' best receiver. Now, we've seen Deebo look great. He was a first-team All-Pro and Pro Bowler back in 2021. Led the NFL in receiving yards average that season with 18.2 yards per reception. But I think what's happening is before Christian McCaffrey arrived, the San Francisco 49ers used Deebo Samuel so much as a running back option that kind of added to the wear and tear of Deebo Samuel. And I think that's going to affect him long term, that his mileage is going to be a bit more worn, if you will, compared to other players at his position. So I would expect if anyone's going to go, it's probably Deebo Samuel and something around after June 1st of a potential deal. So let's ask you, our pinned comment today, will the 49ers end up trading Deebo Samuel or not? Y for yes, N for no. Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. You choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking goals in hockey, rebounds in basketball, maybe it's home runs in baseball, all sorts of different categories to choose from. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match on your first deposit. And I'm looking ahead to the start of the NFL season, folks. I got DK yardage all day. He rules. To have more than 1,025.5 receiving yards this season. Also going with Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP. To have more than 3,600.5 passing yards. If I put $20 down and both these hit, we're making $60 on Prize Picks, folks. Play along with me. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Download Prize Picks today. Terms and conditions do apply. One of the top receivers on the market right now remains, that is wideout Tyler Boyd, who previously played with the Cincinnati Bengals. And according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Boyd recently had a meeting with 2 different teams. Here's what Fowler tweeted out. Free agent wide receiver Tyler Boyd was in Los Angeles this week to meet with the Chargers and will also head to the Titans later this week, per source. Market should heat up for Boyd, who had 513 catches for 6,000 yards over 8 seasons in Cincinnati, in a crowded wide receiver room, might I add, having to share time with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins there. Now, I'll say this. With the draft over, I would expect that Boyd is going to sign sooner than later. And if we're talking about these 2 teams specifically, I would think the Chargers seem like a good fit. I know that Tennessee, that he's got some familiarity with that coaching staff there. But if we're being honest here, the Tennessee Titans are probably going to be one of the worst teams in football next year. And if you're Tyler Boyd, you want to play a significant role on a somewhat decent team. If I'm Tyler Boyd, I would much rather play for the Chargers and get to play with Justin Herbert and go with the direction they're going under Jim Harbaugh rather than deal with the dumpster fire that is the Tennessee Titans right now. Boyd, a former second-round pick out of Pittsburgh, spent several seasons with Cincinnati from 2016 to 2023, and he's been very consistent as a solid number 3 receiver, arguably the best number 3 receiver in the league over the last few years, with 7 career seasons with at least 600 receiving yards, including this last year where he had 67 catches for 667 yards, 10 yards of reception, and 2 touchdown grabs. So now we want to ask you guys here on NFL Daily, where will Tyler Boyd sign in NFL free agency? Does he end up in Los Angeles with the Chargers? Does he go to somewhere like Tennessee? Let us know. Chime in the comment section. Predict it for us where Tyler Boyd ends up. We are talking about the NFL each and every day here on NFL Daily. It's like it's in our name or something here. For the latest happenings across the National Football League with daily news and rumors, live shows 2 days a week. We're also live for all the big events throughout the NFL calendar year as well. You got to subscribe to NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Never miss a moment. Lock us in. Best part about it, absolutely 100% free. Join the family. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. Stephon Gilmore, could he be on his way back to Big D? We have an update on Stephon Gilmore potentially returning to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, to kind of set the scene for you here, Ezekiel Elliott made his return this past week, And Zeke made headlines with his jersey selection. Zeke is not going to wear the number 21 that he previously wore when he was with the Dallas Cowboys in his first stint. Instead, he's going to wear the number 15, which is what he wore with the New England Patriots and also in college at Ohio State. The player that wore 21 last year was Stephon Gilmore. So does that mean that Zeke did not take the number 21 because Stephon Gilmore is coming back? Well, Michael Galkin, who covers the Cowboys for ESPN, he put out this tweet in regards to the Stephon Gilmore situation. He said there's nothing imminent on a potential return for corner Stephon Gilmore. A person familiar with the situation said. Gilmore wore number 21 for the Cowboys in 2023. If a return to a former team is in the works for Gilmore, I think the Carolina Panthers are the most likely destination for Gilmore to make a return. The Panthers have money to spend. They're looking for veterans to fill up that roster. They need a lot of help on that defense. And the Cowboys typically don't like to spend when it comes to free agency. So I would think that if he's moving on, if he is going to play for a new team in 2024, I think that the Carolina Panthers are probably the most likely destination. Gilmore, former Defensive Player of the Year back in 2019, five-time Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl champion. He's been a journeyman of sorts. Previously playing for the Cowboys, the Colts, the Panthers, the Patriots, and the Bills. And if he goes to a new team, this could be his fifth different team in the last 5 seasons. Last year in Dallas, Gilmore had 68 tackles, 13 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble. Still a solid year for the veteran there in Dallas. So let's ask you, will the Cowboys bring back Stephon Gilmore? Type S for sign, type P for pass. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of NFL Daily. If you enjoyed today's show, want to send some good vibes to your favorite team, like the video. We certainly would appreciate it. And we will see you next time right here on NFL Daily. All right. 1 segment down, 2 more to go. Mailbag is next. Use hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. But here's what I want to know. While we wait on mailbag questions to come in, hashtag NFL or Super Chat. Need about three questions? Yeah. Go to the Deebo question. While we wait on questions to come in, use hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get on that. Like Kevin, you got a great comment there. Use hashtag NFL with that. We'll put you on the mailbag segment here in just a second. Jonathan Taylor, I see yours in there. I need about at least 3 or 4 before we start this segment here. But I want to know, will the 49ers trade Deebo Samuel? You heard me say just a moment ago, I think Deebo's getting traded. Christopher says yes. Jonathan says yes. Sack says yes. What do you guys think? Weigh in the chat right now. Let us know if you think Deebo is donezo in San Francisco. You see what I did there? Y for yes, in for no, if Deebo is getting traded from the San Francisco 49ers or not. Willie says yes. Up next, mailbag time, hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. Kevin, I like your comment, but use hashtag NFL and we'll throw it on the mailbag here in just a bit. Let's see. And then after that, we're going to talk top free agents remaining in free agency. I got the top 15 free agents. We'll go over that full list in just a matter of moments. So stay tuned for that as we roll along here on this Thursday afternoon on NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones, Big Tex here with you. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the program today. Let's see.
Hey, Eric.
Go ahead, Tex.
Eric Lockhart says, where do you think Odell Beckham will sign? Let me see if that one's pulling. I didn't see that one. Oh, no. I see it. Okay.
Eric, we'll get your question on.
But yeah, everyone else, please, if you have a question, we're about to start a mailbag. We would really like to answer your questions today.
Yes.
I like you, Lore.
In.
I see you, Lore.
I see you, Lore. Lore, you're getting on the mailbag.
Yep.
So I got one from Jonathan. I got one from Lore. I need another couple before we get this thing started.
Yeah, we need like 2 or 3 more questions, guys, and then we'll get started with this mailbag.
Jonathan, Christopher, Nick, get your questions in. I want to hear from you. Get those questions in. We can get this mailbag segment started. Our poll question right now, will the 49ers trade Deebo Samuel? 61% of you say yes, they will. 39% say no. Alex, I see your question. We'll get that on the mailbag as well. I don't think I've ever seen Alex spelled that way. With a K? Nick, you got to use hashtag NFL or Super Chat. I can't put that on screen unless you do that.
Use hashtag NFL and re-ask the question.
Hashtag NFL or Super Chat. Our software can't pull it up, can't put you on screen without using the hashtag. Simple as that. Yeah. Nick and some others. Need a couple more, then we'll get this thing started. And then we'll go over top free agents after that. So plenty more ahead here on this live edition of NFL Daily this Thursday. It is our Friday. We get a much-needed day off tomorrow after surviving the NFL draft and having a great time. We enjoyed ourselves. So certainly looking forward to that day off tomorrow. But we charge on ahead here on NFL Daily. Thanks for making us a part of your day here on the channel today.
I like that question, Sack, but you're not understanding.
You didn't use hashtag NFL.
You said hashtag will. You got to do hashtag NFL spacebar and then your question. There has to be a space between between hashtag NFL and your question. You can't pair them together or it won't pair.
Yes. Come on now, Sack. Come on now. You got to be like Alex, who got hashtag NFL in there. Jonathan got that in there. Laura got in there. I'm waiting on the next person to use hashtag NFL properly so we can begin this mailbag segment. Please, do us all a favor. There we go.
There's the right idea. That's what I'm talking about.
NC Show's got the right idea.
NC Show knows what he's doing.
NC Show has now given us the go-ahead to carry
on the
with
show.
the show. Steve got it as well. So, without further ado, mailbag time here on the NFL Daily. Let's have ourselves a day as we continue on here on this Thursday. NFL Rumors mailbag ahead, followed by top free agents remaining as well. We'll get started here in just a moment. Big Tex had to get another Zinni in. Oh, yeah. Zen is not a sin, my friends. Yes. All right, here we go. Mailbag time. Let's get after it. You're watching NFL Daily, powered by Chat Sports. I am the one and only Tyler Jones here with you. It is mailbag time. We are asking for your questions across the National Football League. In particular, I want some trade ideas today. This comes from our live show that we do on Thursdays where people submit questions to us. We react to them live as people use the hashtag NFL and Super Chat. And we'll get started with our mailbag in just a moment. Before we do, bosses put a challenge out there for us. They want to know, can we get 20 subs off today's video? We're your off-season headquarters here at NFL Daily. Just because the draft is over doesn't mean we're slowing down. We're still going to bring you the news and rumors you need to know each and every day. We're also talking rookie minicamp, OTAs, counting you down to training camp and more. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/chatsportstv. It was almost promoting our Seahawks channel, which you should subscribe to that too. Subscribe now and we'll get started with today's show. Sark After Dark, all gas, no brakes, wants to know, do you think DK Metcalf gets traded, and could a team like the Ravens be interested? So let's kind of set the scene for you here as far as a potential trade for DK goes. Based on his contract situation, okay, DK would, if he's traded, be a post-June 1 trade just based on the way the money lines up for Seattle of what he's owed and what they could clear off the books. So, in theory, DK is not getting traded tomorrow. So if he's getting traded at all, it would be after June 1. All right? So that's the first part. Number two, the Seahawks are in an interesting position because the way Tyler Lockett's contract is structured, this is probably his last year in Seattle. You got I think it's going to be a superstar, young receiver in JSN there. And then you got DK there as well. I think for the Seahawks, with bringing in a new head coach in Mike McDonald, one of their objectives was the fact that this team underachieved this past season. They did not play to their full potential and full expectations. I think that they want to get the most out of this team and want to have all they can out of DK Metcalf and this entire receiving core for one last go at it, if you will. So I don't think the Seahawks are trading DK Metcalf. If he were to hit the trade market, if he wants out, or the Seahawks do depart from him, Baltimore is going to be one of the first teams that comes to mind right away. I think that Baltimore would be a good fit for what they're looking for of receiver talent. DK seems to make sense, but I just don't think the Seahawks are trading him. So let's ask you, will the Seahawks trade DK Metcalf? It's our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think. Y for yes, N for no. Is DK saying bye-bye? Let us know in the comments section. Eric writes in, where do you think Odell Beckham will sign? Well, he's not coming back to the Baltimore Ravens. We know that much. The Ravens have already said sayonara and said their goodbyes to OBJ. I think that was a bit of a disappointment, the OBJ tenure in Baltimore, as he struggled to stay healthy and really was just inconsistent. I would look out for the Miami Dolphins as a possibility. I wouldn't rule out the New York Jets, maybe the LA Rams. I think he wants to play for a somewhat quality team, a team that's got a chance to contend this year. Those are the teams I'd potentially watch out for of where OBJ could go and make a difference there. Brian Kelly's burner account writes in, could you see the Bills trading Von Miller and where to? So the thing with the Bills, it's interesting because this is a team that was all in just a couple of years ago, right? Where they looked like at one point in time they had the best roster in the league, 1 through 53. Josh Allen gets paid, and then everyone else has kind of got to go. And the Bills have pretty much missed on their championship window. They've had to reset this thing. You move on from Stephon Diggs, try to get something while you can. Some of the other players like Jordan Poyer and others, they've had to say goodbye to as well. I think Von Miller, if you're the Buffalo Bills, it might not be a bad time to potentially trade him and try to get something out of him while you can, because Von Miller's on the back end of his prime now. He struggled to stay healthy a bit, and he's not a part of the long-term future of the Buffalo Bills. I think the Ravens could be a potential good fit for him. I wouldn't rule out him possibly going back to Los Angeles, going to the Rams as a possibility, potentially for Von Miller there. I think Von Miller would have a lot of potential suitors for his services if we were to hit the trade market. You know, the Dallas Cowboys come to mind as well as a potential team for Von Miller. I think with him being on the back end with the injury issues, he wouldn't cost you a ton in a trade either. I'm not ruling out this possibility the Bills move on from Von Miller. Let's ask you, should the Bills trade Von Miller? Type T for trade, K for keep. Is it time for the Bills to move on from Von Miller, get what they can out of him? Let us know. NFL rookie jerseys are on sale now at chatsports.com/NFL jersey. And I got to tell you, these jerseys are awesome. We have all your favorite rookies across the National Football League, from Caleb Williams to Drake May to Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, and more. Support your favorite team and your favorite rookie. Maybe you're a college fan that wants to get a jersey of your now NFL player that you're going to be rooting for. Maybe your NFL team, you just love the pick that they made. We got them all for you in one place. Chatsports.com/NFL jersey. And we have all sorts of varieties as well, from the home and away uniforms, men's and women's jerseys as well, all sorts to choose from. So go see for yourself. Chatsports.com/NFL jersey to get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. NC Show writes in, do you think Hendrickson will be traded? And if yes, where do you think that he will end up? So it's interesting. You know, you look at Hendrickson, and, you know, the Cincinnati Bengals, kind of similar to the Buffalo Bills in that their window is closing, right? I think this is kind of the last hoorah, if you will, for the Cincinnati Bengals before all that money with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and others. You know, T. Higgins is probably gone. They've already said goodbye to Joe Mixon and company. With Trey Hendrickson, I think there's a decent chance he gets traded. I think it's more likely he gets traded than T. Higgins does. I would look at the Atlanta Falcons as a potential destination. Teams that are looking for help at that position, the Los Angeles Rams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Detroit Lions, the Denver Broncos, all I think are certainly possible that could be in the market to get a guy like Hendrickson. So we'll see. That's who I have in mind there as far as that goes. But thanks for that question on that front. All right, Another question coming in from Donkey's Teeth writes in, is Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk going to get traded from the 49ers? Deebo Samuel is the one that's more likely, I think, to potentially get traded than Brandon Ayuk is. We saw that Brandon Ayuk was better than Deebo Samuel this past year. And the 49ers don't have the money to be able to afford both receivers. With the money they're paying Bosa, with the money they're going to have to pay Brock Purdy here down the line, it's getting expensive on the receiver front. When St. Brown of the Lions got paid $30+ million, that was kind of a red flag to the rest of the league that receivers are not going to be cheap, and they already were pretty expensive. I think that Deebo's probably the odd man out. He's got more mileage than most receivers around his age because he played some running back as well for San Francisco. So I think Deebo's potentially the odd man out. Plus, you drafted Ricky Pearsall from Florida, the wide receiver there. You don't make that pick if you're not moving on from one of your receivers. I think they ultimately move on from Deebo there, potentially before the season. But based on the way the money works, I would think that's probably like a June 1, post-June 1 trade as far as Deebo goes. A few more questions on the docket here today. Let's go to this one from Merrill Garrett writes in. What tackles are still on the free agent market? Donovan Smith is out there. He's a possibility. David Bakari, DJ Humphreys, just to name a few. Donovan Smith is probably the best one out there. But it is getting slim. It's slim pickings when it comes to these potential tackles that are available to sign. Last question in the mailbag this week from Alex, whatever it is, says, do the Bears make the playoffs next year? I do believe the Bears are going to be a playoff team in 2024. I am skeptical when it comes to Eberflus, their head coach. I didn't like the OC hire of Shane Waldron, but the talent is just too good. I think Caleb Williams is walking into a very good situation, and it's so unlike what Justin Fields had to deal with, right? Justin Fields kind of laid the groundwork, right? He walked so Caleb Williams could run, if you will. And you look at what Caleb Williams has now with Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. They got good running game. Defense needs a bit of work, but the foundation is there for the Bears. There's no excuse. They should be a playoff team. I think they'll be a wild card in this upcoming playoff. Before we go, one final question here for our audience. Name a player that will get traded this offseason. We talked about several of them here on today's show. Who do you think is gone? Way in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Thanks for joining us here on NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Subscribe now for free. Lock us in, and we'll see you next time here on the channel. 2 down, 1 to go. We are talking best free agents remaining up next. Very good mailbag. Very good mailbag. Will the Seahawks trade DK? Y for yes, in for no. Tex, I'll bring you back in so I can get a little drink, get a little breather here. I don't think DK is getting traded. I understand that there's some frustration with Seahawk fans, the fact that he gets called for more personal fouls than anybody in the National Football League,
right,
and that he doesn't keep his emotions in check. But even with that said, his numbers, he's coming off the best season of his career.
Right.
He's been very consistent. He's such a threat for that offense. I would be very surprised.
Yeah, I just don't think you trade a cornerstone piece, a cornerstone piece of your offense.
He's the best player on that team.
He's the best player on the team. I mean, you're crazy if you think it's Geno Smith. Like, no disrespect to him. Like, DK is your best player. You don't trade your best player. Like, I think Mike McDonald's smart enough to know that. Like, he seems like a good guy, good coach, potentially. Like, I think he'll keep him and build the offense around him. And I don't know, like, QB situation's kind of shaky still, but at the same time, like, you can't trade DK. Like, that QB needs someone to throw to, and DK is that guy.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Top free agents remaining. Let's go through the list and break them down piece by piece. 15 players. We'll tell you about who's available and where they could potentially end up. We'll go over that list right now here on our final segment here on this Thursday edition of NFL Daily. Jonesy and Big Tex here with you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Here we go. You're watching NFL Daily by Chat Sports. I am merely Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. I have the top 15 free agents that remain available to sign after the 2024 NFL Draft. We're expecting free agency to kind of pick up over the next couple days, where some of these guys could end up with new homes here in the coming weeks. We'll go over the full list in just a moment. Before we do, I need a roll call here on today's show. I know we got fans from all across the NFL. I want you to shout out your favorite team in the comments section. Who is your team? Who do you rock with on Sundays that you'll be rooting on this season? Shout them out in the comments section. Show them some love, and we'll get started. We begin with Tyler Boyd at the wide receiver position. Tyler Boyd coming off a solid year with the Cincinnati Bengals. He's been arguably the best number 3 receiver in the league the last several seasons. Last year, had a total of 667 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10 yards of reception. There's been talk about him going to the Chargers, maybe the Titans potentially. We'll see what happens with Tyler Boyd, where he ultimately ends up. But Tyler Boyd could be a sneaky good find for somebody. Odell Beckham Jr., maybe the most notable name on this list. Last year was with the Baltimore Ravens, had an up-and-down year, showed some flashes, but struggled to stay healthy coming off the ACL injury, as he did not play in 2022 after the Super Bowl win against the Los Angeles Rams. And I think you have to keep realistic expectations when it comes to OBJ. You're not getting the version we saw in 2019 for the Cleveland Browns when he had over 1,000 yards that year. But if you can live with OBJ getting 600 receiving yards potentially and probably not playing the full season, I think he could be in good shape for somebody as a good fit for somebody that's trying to have an explosive passing game. I also look for OBJ to play for a contending team. I think the top options out there for him potentially, you're looking at the Miami Dolphins, the New York Jets, maybe it's the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see where OBJ ultimately ends up. Speaking of the Cowboys, should they sign OBJ? Let us know what you think. My favorite question around here at Chat Sports, should the Cowboys sign OBJ? Type OBJ for yes. Type no BJ for no. That's OBJ for yes. No BJ for no. Let me know in the comments section. The best quarterback left in the market, Ryan Tannehill, formerly of the Tennessee Titans. He will be a backup somewhere, but a backup with a lot of experience. He's started several playoff games over the years, began with the Miami Dolphins, ended up going to the Tennessee Titans where he sat behind Marcus Mariota, won that job, and took Tennessee to the AFC Championship game. Hasn't gone great for Ryan Tannehill the last couple of seasons, but we've seen that he can step in these situations before where his name wasn't called upon initially and then got the job done. Did a really good job leading some teams, specifically the Tennessee Titans, to new heights. So I'm looking for Ryan Tannehill. If your team needs a backup quarterback out there, not the Atlanta Falcons, that's for sure. If you're looking for a veteran, Ryan Tannehill could be the perfect fit for your team on that front. More to come here on NFL Daily, but first, let's tell you about today's sponsor. That is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. You choose 2 or more players in any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points, maybe it's goals in hockey, rebounds in basketball, birdies in golf, all sorts of different categories to choose from. And we have here on Prize Picks a very good entry here, I think, personally. DK Metcalf to have more than 1,025.5 receiving yards this year. Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP, to have more than 3,600.5 passing yards himself. If you put $20 down in this hits, that's going to turn into $60 on Prize Picks. Play along with us. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match on your first entry. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Download Prize Picks today. Donovan Smith also on this list. Donovan Smith, a Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs, but he has been replaced. He'll move on elsewhere, and he is the top offensive tackle on the market right now. Coming off a season where his PFF grade wasn't anything to write home about, 55.4, Did allow just 2 sacks. Did allow a lot of hurries, though, 33, and a lot of penalties, 9 to be exact. Dalton Reisner, next on the list at the offensive guard position. He waited a while for his name to be called last season in free agency. Ultimately ended up playing for the Minnesota Vikings and did not allow a single sack last year in Minnesota. I think that the Baltimore Ravens could be a potential good fit. They're still looking for help at that offensive guard spot. Look out for Dalton Reisner potentially to be a name in Baltimore. Connor Williams, most recently with the Miami Dolphins. And there's some flexibility with Connor Williams. You could have him as a center. He could be a guard. He started at both in this league. And he was one of the highest rated centers in the entire NFL last year with an 86.5 grade. Just allowed 1 sack. I know that the Seahawks have a young center in Olu Oluwatimi, but Seattle might be better off going with a veteran like Connor Williams, who's proven that he can get the job done like we saw last year in Miami. Don't sleep on the Seahawks as a possibility for Connor Williams. Who is your player that you want your favorite team to sign? We're going through the full list today. We've already gone through several of them, got more to go. Weigh in the comment section, let us know who you want your team to add. For the best NFL coverage around, you got to subscribe to NFL Daily by Chat Sports. 375,000 strong, and we're not stopping there. We're bringing you daily news and rumors. We're live twice a week. We're live for the big events across the NFL as well. Lock us in. There is no off-season on NFL Daily. Stay up to date. Don't miss a moment. Subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Emmanuel Ogbah. I like Emmanuel Ogbah a lot. He has been slept on his entire career. The former Oklahoma State Cowboy won a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, began his career with the Browns, most recently was with the Dolphins, and last year still had 5.5 sacks. 2 years ago, had 9 sacks. Also had 9 sacks in 2020 as well. If you're looking for a cheap edge rusher option, Emmanuel Ogbah could be your guy. You can never have too many pass rushers, a really nice rotational piece there. Speaking of pass rushers, Yannick Ngakoue, also on this list as well, was with the Chicago Bears last season. Prior to that was with the Indianapolis Colts. And Yannick's season wasn't what it was lived up to be for the money he was making there in Chicago. Only had 4 sacks. The year prior had 9.5 sacks. What version of Yannick Ngakoue will we see in 2024? That remains to be seen. Father Time is undefeated except against Calais Campbell. Calais Campbell has been fantastic over the years. The former Atlanta Falcon and Baltimore Raven. He has done it all. And even last year, at his age, still had 6.5 sacks and 17 QB hits. He's not retiring anytime soon. You need help on the defensive line, give Calais Campbell a call. Let's go to linebacker position. Shaq Leonard on this list. Shaq Leonard still looking for his next option. And it wasn't the best year for Shaq Leonard last year, bouncing from Indianapolis to Philadelphia. Had a total of 88 tackles, 1 sack, and 4 tackles for a loss. But if you need help at linebacker, look out for Shaq Leonard there. The corner position. We got to run on corners now. Xavier Howard, who had an up-and-down year with the Miami Dolphins. He was ultimately replaced by Kendall Fuller. He is still available as well. Howard had 1 interception, 45 tackles, and 12 pass breakups in 2023. More names to get to in just a moment, but let's ask you, where is Xavier Howard ultimately going to sign? I could see the Cowboys slipping in there. If you can't get Stephon Gilmore, who we'll talk about in a moment, can't bring him back, look out for the Cowboys. Maybe the Carolina Panthers potentially. Let us know where you think Howard's going to sign. Adoree Jackson also on this list as well. Not too old either. Just 28 years old, Adoree Jackson is. Last season, had 63 tackles, 8 pass breakups, and 1 interception. The man that we teased just a moment ago, Stephon Gilmore, also on this list, the former Defensive Player of the Year, is looking at the possibility of playing for his 5th team in the last 5 seasons. We've heard about the Panthers potentially being interested in bringing him back. We've heard about the Cowboys potentially interested in bringing him back. Gilmore has options. Justin Simmons at the safety position also is a possibility as well. Anybody looking for a safety, Justin Simmons could be your guy. Simmons has been very good the last few seasons. 3 interceptions last year, 6 in 2022, which was a career high. Also had 2 forced fumbles last year and 3 forced fumbles kind of surprised that he's still sitting around waiting to see where he will go. Where do you think Justin Simmons is going to sign? Let us know in the comments section. Get your predictions in where Justin Simmons is going to end up. Micah Hyde also on this list, a little bit older now, 33 years old Micah Hyde is, but he's coming off a year where he bounced back off of the injury that he had in 2022 that forced him to miss 2 games. Still had 54 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 7 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of NFL Daily. If you made it to the end of today's video, spam a real one in the comments section. We certainly would appreciate it, and we'll see you next time here on NFL Daily. All right, where will Justin Simmons sign? Get your guesses in the chat. We'll shout you out here. I see Ian says Chiefs Kingdom. Alex says Patriots. Kevin also says, glad Bill Belichick is out of the NFL. He's still doing like the McAfee show. He's going to be doing the Manning cast. Belichick will still be around. I wouldn't rule out the possibility of him coaching in 2025. We'll see. Alex says the Patriots. Eric says the Giants. Kevin says bring the mayor to Duval. We'll see about that. We'll sign off. Thanks for joining us here on this live edition of NFL Daily. Always a pleasure when we get to hang out with you all. Subscribe now to Chat Sports. Have a great rest of your weekend. For Big Tex, I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us.